Life is not a game, but if you step onto the battlefield, if you take a stand, if you make a choice to move forward, you better play to win. Too many people go through life hesitant, unsure, half-hearted. They step onto the field, but their mind is already filled with doubt. They run the race, but they hold back, fearing they might fall. They start the fight, but at the first sign of struggle, they retreat. And that's why so many fail. That's why so many live beneath their calling, because they never truly commit. But listen to me. God did not call you to be weak. He did not place you here to barely survive. He called you to overcome. He called you to conquer. He called you to win. Look at David. A young shepherd boy, small in stature, inexperienced in battle, and yet when he stepped onto the battlefield to face Goliath, he didn't come with fear, he didn't hesitate, he didn't shrink back like the rest of Israel's army. No, he ran toward the giant. He came with faith, he came with the power of the living God, and because of that, he won. You see, winning starts in the mind before it ever happens in reality. The devil wants you to doubt. He wants you to hesitate. He wants you to second guess yourself so much that you never even take the shot. And when you hesitate, you lose. But when you step forward with faith, when you commit fully to God's plan, victory is already written in your story. The Apostle Paul said, run in such a way as to get the prize. 1 Corinthians 9:24. Not casually, not lazily, not with fear, but with everything inside of you, with your heart, your mind, your spirit locked in. Because in this life, you're either fighting for God's kingdom or you're getting pushed around by the enemy. You're either stepping up with boldness or you're backing down in fear. And let me tell you, fear does not win battles. The devil is afraid of people who are all in. He trembles at men and women who say, I will not stop, I will not quit, I will not back down, because those are the people who shake the kingdom of darkness. Those are the people who take back what the enemy stole. Those are the people who refuse to settle, refuse to compromise, refuse to live in defeat. So if you play, play to win. If you fight, fight to overcome. If you run, run to finish strong, because God has already given you everything you need. The victory is already promised. The enemy has already been defeated. But you have to step forward. You have to trust. You have to move like you know the battle is the Lord's. Life is not for the faint of heart. Every single day you are stepping onto a battlefield. Whether you realize it or not, you are in a fight for your destiny, your faith, your purpose. And in a battle, there is no room for hesitation. There is no time for second guessing. The moment you hesitate, the enemy strikes. The moment you hold back, you give the opposition the upper hand. And that is why so many people fall short, not because they aren't strong enough, not because they don't have what it takes, but because they never fully commit. Look at the warriors in the Bible. When God called Gideon, he started out uncertain, questioning his own ability. But once he accepted that God was with him, he went all in. He didn't tiptoe into battle. He didn't fight with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. He followed God's command and struck down the enemy with just 300 men against thousands. Victory didn't come from his strength. It came from his obedience and his decision to trust completely. The problem with many people today is that they want results without commitment. They want the rewards without the sacrifice. They want the victory without the battle. But God doesn't bless the lukewarm. He doesn't anoint those who only give half of themselves. He is looking for men and women who will say, Lord, I am all in. No matter the cost, no matter the struggle, I will not back down. When Peter stepped out of the boat to walk on water, he started with faith. He took that bold first step. But the moment he hesitated, the moment he let doubt creep in, he began to sink. That is what happens when you don't commit fully. That is what happens when you try to serve God while still clinging to fear. You cannot move forward while looking back. You cannot step into your destiny while holding on to hesitation. God is calling you to stand firm, to trust completely, to go all in, because the moment you do, chains will break. Doors will open, mountains will move, but it starts with a decision to believe, to trust, and to commit without hesitation. The battle is already won, but you have to step forward like you believe it. Fear has paralyzed more people than failure ever could. It whispers doubts, plants hesitation, and convinces even the strongest warriors to turn back before they even begin. But those who walk by faith, those who refuse to be controlled by fear, are the ones who step into victory. The battle is never won in the physical first. It is won in the mind, in the heart, in the spirit. The moment you believe that God is greater than the obstacle in front of you, the victory is already secured. Look at David, a shepherd boy, young and untrained in war, standing before a giant who had terrorized an entire army. The odds were stacked against him. The soldiers of Israel trembled, men with experience, warriors who had fought in battle, but they lost the fight before it even began because fear had already overtaken them. Fear told them Goliath was too big to defeat. Fear told them they were not strong enough. But David saw something different. He didn't see a giant that couldn't be beaten. He saw an enemy that was already defeated because he stood against the living God. That is what separates the victorious from the defeated. It is not strength. It is not experience. It is faith. The unwavering belief that if God is for you, nothing can stand against you. When David stepped forward, he didn't carry a sword, a shield, or heavy armor. He carried faith. And with one stone, one act of trust, the giant fell. Fear will always try to talk you out of your destiny. It will tell you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that the obstacles ahead are too great. But faith shuts down the lies. Faith silences the doubt. Faith reminds you that every battle belongs to the Lord. And if He has called you to it, He has already equipped you to win. So the question is, what will you listen to? The voice of fear that keeps you stuck, or the voice of faith that tells you to move forward? The choice determines everything, because the moment you choose faith, the battle is already won. The devil doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to make you hesitate. If he can plant doubt in your mind, if he can make you question God's plan, if he can get you to pause when you should be moving forward, he's already won half the battle. Hesitation is the enemy's weapon because it keeps you stuck. It keeps you from stepping into the destiny God has prepared for you. It keeps you in a cycle of fear, uncertainty, and missed opportunity. Think about Eve in the garden. The serpent didn't force her to sin. He didn't drag her to the tree and make her eat the fruit. All he did was plant a seed of doubt. Did God really say? That one question made her hesitate. That moment of doubt caused her to question God's word, and in that hesitation, she lost the battle. That's how the enemy works. He won't always attack with obvious destruction. Sometimes he just whispers a question, a doubt, a reason to pause. And in that pause, in that moment of uncertainty, he gains ground. Look at Peter. When he saw Jesus walking on water, faith made him step out of the boat, but hesitation made him sink. He was walking in the miraculous. His feet were literally moving on top of the waves until he hesitated. He looked at the wind, the storm, the circumstances around him, and he let fear creep in. And the moment he doubted, the moment he hesitated, he started to go under. That's why the Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. James 1:8. When you hesitate between faith and fear, you can't move forward. When you waver between trust and doubt, you stay stuck in the same place. The enemy knows that as long as you're questioning, as long as you're waiting for the perfect conditions, as long as you're delaying your obedience, you won't step into the power God has for you. God is calling you to move in boldness, to trust without hesitation, to step forward without fear, because when you hesitate, you lose ground. But when you move in faith, the enemy has no power over you. Victory comes when you stop questioning and start believing. The moment you trust God fully, the chains break, the doors open, and the promises of God become reality in your life. Life is not a casual stroll, it is a race. And in a race, no one wins by accident. No one crosses the finish line in victory by taking their time, stopping every few steps, or running without direction. The ones who win are the ones who run with purpose, with focus, with unwavering determination. That is exactly what the Apostle Paul was saying in 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Many people treat their walk with God like a hobby instead of a mission. They move with no urgency, no real focus. They pray when they feel like it. They seek God only when things go wrong. They serve half-heartedly, and they wonder why they're not seeing the breakthrough. But Paul says if you're going to run, run like you mean it. Run like your life depends on it, because it does. Jesus didn't call us to be passive believers sitting on the sidelines waiting for things to happen. He called us to be warriors, to move with purpose, to fight the good fight of faith. Imagine an athlete training for the Olympics. They wake up early, they push through exhaustion, they discipline their body and mind because they have one goal in mind: to win. And if people can be that dedicated for a temporary earthly prize, how much more should we be running for the eternal prize that God has set before us? The enemy wants you to be distracted. He wants you to lose focus, to waste time, to get caught up in things that don't matter. He will use anything, temptation, fear, even comfort, to slow you down, to make you lose sight of what God has called you to do. But the ones who win are the ones who keep their eyes on the goal, the ones who don't let anything pull them off course, the ones who say, no matter what comes my way, I will finish strong. Run with intention, run with passion, run with faith, because the prize is not for those who start the race, it's for those who endure, those who refuse to quit, those who press forward no matter the cost. The finish line is ahead. The crown of victory is waiting, but you must run like you truly want it. The enemy is not afraid of weak faith. He is not concerned with those who pray only when it's convenient, who trust God only when things are easy, who serve only when they feel like it. But the moment someone decides to go all in for God, to refuse to quit, to stand firm no matter what comes against them, that is when the kingdom of darkness starts to tremble. Satan's greatest weapon is not power, it's deception. He wants you to believe you're not strong enough, that you're not equipped, that you don't have what it takes. He wants you to give up before you ever see the victory, because he knows that the moment you refuse to quit, the battle is already lost for him. Look at Job. The devil threw everything at him: loss, sickness, betrayal, hoping he would break, hoping he would curse God and walk away. But Job refused. Even when everything in his life was falling apart, even when he had every reason to give up, he held on to God. And because of his faith, God restored him. That is the power of perseverance. That is what the enemy fears. A person who says, I don't care what comes my way, I will not back down, because that kind of faith is unstoppable. That kind of faith shakes the gates of hell. Look at Paul, beaten, imprisoned, persecuted, but he never quit. He kept preaching, kept fighting, kept pressing forward. And because of that, the gospel spread, strongholds broke, and the enemy lost ground. Paul could have given up at any moment. He had every excuse to stop, but he understood one thing: quitting is not an option for those who walk with God. The enemy is not afraid of people who start the race. He's afraid of those who finish it. He's afraid of those who stand their ground when the storms come, who refuse to compromise, who say, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Job 13:15. Because those are the people who walk in victory. Those are the people who take back what the enemy has stolen. So make the decision today. No matter what the devil throws at you, no matter how hard it gets, you will not quit. Because the moment you decide that, the enemy knows he's already lost. Victory is not something you have to beg for. It's not something you have to chase down, hoping that one day, if you work hard enough, you might finally deserve it. No, the victory has already been won. It was sealed the moment Jesus conquered death. It was declared when he rose from the grave and stripped the enemy of his power. The only thing left for you to do is step forward and claim what God has already promised. Too many people live as if they are fighting for victory, when in reality they are fighting from victory. They pray as if they are powerless. They move as if the enemy is still in control. But let me tell you, Satan has already been defeated. His fate is sealed, his power is broken, and when you walk in obedience to God, you are walking in the authority of the one who has already overcome. Look at Joshua and the Israelites standing before Jericho. The walls were high, the city was fortified, and the battle looked impossible. But God had already spoken. See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands. Joshua 6:02, before they even marched, before the first trumpet sounded, before a single stone fell, God had already declared the victory. All they had to do was obey, move forward, and watch the promise come to pass.